All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. Blaise Pascal, French mathematician and philosopher. When I think about the goals of this channel, what I want people to learn, what I want to experience, I think I find a very common theme with the messages that I'm trying to get across. And I think that theme is that I want people to appreciate the utter beauty of thinking. That I want people to know what it means to sit and contemplate pure, unadulterated thought. For me, being alone and being undistracted can be a very scary place to be. It means that you can't hide from all your problems. It means that the pain and the things you've been pushing down come rising up because they can't be distracted anymore. And you're just left there to confront everything in front of you, everything that you've been avoiding. And that's a pretty freaking scary thought. And that's why so many of us don't like to be in our own thoughts, because we're scared what we may find there. We're scared that often our own thoughts are not congruent with what we like to think that we think. And on top of that, it just doesn't seem that fun. There's so much entertainment to distract us. There's Netflix, there's video games, there's even books and social media, and I could just keep going, sports and magazines and movie theaters and eating out and bowling alleys. This world is designed for entertainment. There's industries upon industries of billions of dollars that are put in to entertain us, to fill the waking hours of our day with something other than our own thoughts. And I have latched on to that. I have joined the industry of entertainment. And to be honest, there's nothing wrong with being entertained. There's nothing wrong with watching movies. I love watching sports. That's one of my favorite things to do. And I cannot count the number of hours I've spent watching hockey. It is countless upon countless. And I enjoy doing that, and I will continue to keep doing that because it's something that I enjoy. But there's also this balance to be struck in which the entertainment and the distractedness just consumes our lives. And all of a sudden, we can't have an original thought. We can't have something that just... We're unable to sit and be still. We're unable to not fidget. We're unable to just be alone because we pushed it away. And we've just started living in this fantasy of what we consider our lives, but is really just a surface level meaning of our lives. Being alone is difficult, especially if you haven't done it a lot. A lot of stuff can just come up. And I must admit that more than once I have left a time of reflection just questioning the point of my existence, because it seems like the hard questions are no longer able to be avoided. And you just start getting in your own head and you just start thinking, what is this all for? What am I doing? And you have that existential crisis. Of course, that's only part of the times. There are other times when I get alone when I find myself in really deep and meaningful thought. In thought that I find quite productive. In thought that I find quite original quite clear and quite meaningful to me. Sometimes when you're alone, these creative, these meaningful thoughts come to life that never really were there before, and you're able to process what is going on. The input is able to stop. You step away from the distractions, you step away from the input, you step away and you just stop. You just stop, and you're still. And maybe that's when you're running. You know, you can be still in your mind while you're running with your body, or maybe that's when you're sitting in a chair at home, or maybe that's just taking a moment on the toilet seat. I don't know. Sometimes I do that. But you're just still, and still mentally. And in that stillness, you're able to process what has happened because the input is stopped. And when the input stops, your brain can catch up with everything that's been going on. And when it catches up, you're able to see issues and problems that may be arising in your life, or that may be arising globally or in your society. I feel you're able to see them with a little bit more clarity. Thinking and really thinking about these issues is able to clutter down this hyped up, cluttered mess that we often make of these issues into something that is much more concrete, much more clear, and often much more actionable, something that can be done in a very realistic and practical manner. And for me, what it does is it brings about a reality check. That's really what this channel is all about, right? Like, the banner says embrace reality. And that's not just about stepping away from our screens, although, I mean, it is partly about that, and enjoying life in the present as much as we can. But it's also about embracing a reality of where we actually are in life, of coming face to face with who we are, and not trying to dress it up as someone we're not, and not trying to push away what we think we shouldn't be feeling or the thoughts we shouldn't be having, and come face to face with who we are. And then from there, it is only when we address the problems that we know how to fix them. If you don't know what the problems are, if you don't know what the starting point, how are you going to reach the end? You know, so many people are looking for solutions and they don't even know what the problems are. You have to start with the problem. It's like any good researcher will tell you, the research question is so important. You have to know what the question is that you're trying to answer. You have to know the problem is that you're trying to find a solution to. And if you don't, you're just going to be struggling trying to find a solution that you don't even know what. And it's in these quiet moments that we take that first step and we're able to define a problem, an issue, or even just a thought that we're dealing with. And we're all dealing with different things, whether they're existential or tiny. And then from there, when we embrace the reality of the situation, we see it as it is, not as we would like it to be. There we're able to start contemplating, okay, how does this work? How does this work? Why does this work? And this is both practical and philosophical, right? You've got philosophical questions like, what is the meaning of life? those grand, where do we come from type questions that we're searching for in truth, but often we are searching for and must come to truth and grips with. But we've also got more practical questions like, how am I going to make ends meet? How am I going to pay for school? Being alone allows you to finally come to grips with yourself and who you are and the problems and what is happening. And when you initially do it, it can just be a bit overwhelming because you pushed it away and you're just not used to it, and you just want to run from yourself and from your mind. But as you do it more and more, it becomes something that you actually find to be a fantastic part of your life. And what you discover is that you're actually a pretty fun person to be around. And you may start to really enjoy the thoughts that you have. Maybe not all of them. Some of them are weird, and some of them are really not you at all. And you just have to put those aside and say, that wasn't really me thinking. That was something else. And that was really weird. And let's just stay away from there. But other ones you find intriguing and wonderful, and you think, wow, how did I come up with that? Where did that come from? That was a really cool idea. And you find you're actually a pretty neat person to be around, and you start really enjoying, what you have to offer the world, and you start thinking, wow, I'm made to be a pretty cool person. And that's a pretty neat idea. Because you stop running from yourself and you start embracing it. And you start seeing things for what they are. You start seeing yourself a little bit more. You learn who you are a little bit more. You discover different sides, different areas that you didn't even know you were in you. And they come forth. And you get to share it with people. And your friends and your family members and people who know you start to see a different side of you. Something that isn't always on display when you're around them. I guess what I'm trying to say, not very eloquently at all, to you, to myself, to society. The message that I want to be known is to just stop. Take the time to be alone and think. And you just may be surprised by the results.